This video will be an overview of OpenRoads Designer Design Standards. Design standards are used to monitor various alignment parameters on OpenRoads geometry elements. Standards are stored in a DGN library within the Ohio DOT standards. The design standards can be used for two purposes: provide default values for element creation tools such as the radius of a curve for a selected ODOT standard, and can also check and report on the compliance of a geometric element with the design standard that has been assigned to that element. When a design standard is violated, the user is notified two ways. An icon is displayed on the graphics to indicate that there's a problem, or the Civil Message Center will report any errors. The Design Standard Toolbar allows you to select and apply a design standard. So from the OpenRoads Modeling Geometry tab, you select the Standards button and select Design Standards Toolbar, and that'll open our toolbar. When you first open it, it'll probably appear blank. The toolbar has a drop-down list to select the horizontal design standards and design speed on the left pull-down. And when I select one of these, in my examples, I'm going to use 55 miles an hour for a two-lane undivided highway. Notice on the right, this is your vertical design standard, which is automatically populated once I select my horizontal speed. There are two icons on the left of these drop-down menus. The first is Set the Design Standard. This is used to apply the current design standard to selected geometric elements. The second would toggle the active design standard on, and this is used to set the selected design standards for active commands. So when we're placing a curve, it will automatically select the appropriate curve radius for us. So let's take a look. I want to draw 3 tangents to start, and okay, so now between the first 2 tangents, I want to place a simple curve, simple arc, and I'm just going to select the first tangent, select the second tangent. Notice that this will allow me to basically set any curve radius value that I wish at this point, either graphically or by entering whatever value. When I toggle on my design standard, it will automatically give me the minimum curve radius for the design speed. So in this case, I'll just data point to accept and trim back the other 2 commands. Now, if I zoom in a little bit, and let's say I want to change the curve radius here to something smaller than the minimum, you'll notice I get the red X to indicate that there's a problem. If I change a value of the spiral, you'll notice a yellow exclamation point is shown here. Now what I want to do is, with the third tangent, I drew the third tangent just to show an example of a deflection angle. It's pretty obvious that that is not within the 1 degree for 55 mile an hour. So, but there's no warning shown even when I zoom in on it. So what I need to do is complex this geometry together to create an alignment, and right away the exclamation point is there to indicate there's an error. If I did not have this toggled on, let me undo this. If I did not have on the design standard toggle when I complex the geometry, I would not get the error. And in this case, what I would want to do is set the design standard for the element, and now I get the exclamation point again. So to review any of these error messages, you can hover your cursor over the error, and it'll pop up with the floating warning there to tell you what's wrong. So in this case, you can see that the standard value is 1 degree. The actual value is 9 degrees for this deflection point. I can also open the the civil message center, which would indicate all of these errors. We can toggle off the microstation errors for this point for now. And by hovering over any of these and selecting it, I can also right click and it'll zoom me into the error that I want to review. So, okay, so let's take a quick look at a profile. The commands and the warnings are similar to the horizontal, but I just wanted to show a profile anyway. So I'll open a profile view here. I'll start by placing two tangents, and then I'll add a curve between elements here. Notice that my design standards are not toggled on at the moment, and I can enter in any curve parameter or curve length using the heads up prompts, or it graphically can select them. I can change the heads up prompt using the arrow left and arrow right. Now, if I turn on my design standard, it will automatically set the vertical curve parameter for the K value for a crest vertical curve, which for at 55 miles an hour is 114. So I can accept that and trim back the lines. Now, if I go in and I change this to something rather small or something less than 114, I get the red X to tell me there's a problem there that needs resolved. I also wanted to show on one of these grades, for this design speed, the max grade is set to 12%. So if I want to change that to be steeper, just to show that a warning will be given. But in order to do that, what I have to do first is complex these elements together. And I'm going to toggle off the design standard, and then what I want to do is just graphically move this to be steeper than 12%. But notice there's no warning given here. So in this case, I would want to show or select the set design standard and then select this profile. And right away, I get a warning that there's something that needs resolved here. So if you want to check the design standard that was used for a particular element, you can using the element selection tool, you can select that element, and in your properties dialog box, you can see everything about that particular element. So if we scroll down a little bit, we'll see our design standard that was set for a 2-lane undivided highway for 55 miles an hour. If I select that, it'll tell me more information about that design standard, and I could also change it from here if I needed to change it. If I wanted to change this to say 45 miles an hour, I could. If we don't need to apply a design standard any longer, we can also right click on the standard and say remove design standard from that element. Lastly, before we end this video, I just wanted to show how you can use Explorer to reference the design standards that are being used. So within the Explorer, if you toggle to the Open Roads Standards section and expand or navigate through the design standards down, and you'll see horizontal and vertical. And when I select the horizontal design speed, you'll see the horizontal design parameters. My minimum radius is set to 954, and some of the other values here are set. Obviously my speed is set to 55. I can do the same for a vertical curve or my vertical settings, and see that my minimum slope is 0.5% and my maximum slope is 12%. And it's picking the K values up through a table that's in their standards as well.